Carrie Rhoades here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another video. Today I am bringing you another creation with the Concord 9th bundle called Floral Print Silhouette. It's my stamp set of the month, which just means I'm going to be bringing you a new creation with this bundle every Monday for the month of May. Today's projects are also featuring this cute little house die. So both my projects using this die. But if you caught last week's video, you saw me use the bundle and the deer dies. So cute. And if you commented on last week's video, you were entered into a drawing to win this card. So I think it's time we announce the winner, and the winner is Latoria Williams. Congrats, Latoria. Leave a comment below. I'll be in touch and get this card mailed out to you right away. Yay for Happy Mail. All right, so let's get started on today's creations and just have some fun. Let's take a look at the Floral Print Silhouette stamp set and die set that I will be using today. I'm going to be using that house die and several of the little dies as well. I'm also going to use the Polka Dot Turnabout stamp set, some circle dies, and a red tag die from Fun Stamper's Journey. All the products that I'm using today are linked in the description box below for you. I'm going to be stamping using my mini MISTI 3 images from this stamp set to create one unique image. And I'm going to mark the little arrow at the top of this stamp so that when I stamp the next 2 images, I can easily line them up. I am starting with Hippo ink, sorry about that, gray from Fawn, and that is just a really nice gray. And when I picked these colors, I was kind of thinking of maybe home decor colors that are kind of popular right now and what would work well together. And then I'm going to clean that off, and I'll switch it out for the image that has the flowers on it. And again, I'm going to line up the notch at the top of that stamp with my pencil mark, and I'm just going to scoot that and make sure that all the flowers are in the right spot before I pick it up with the door of my MISTI. This one I'm going to ink up with Sugar Plum ink, also from Fawn, and it's a really rich kind of royal purple color, really pretty. So that will get inked up really well before stamping it down. Of course, using a stamp positioning tool, you can always stamp more than once if you need to. I love that option. We'll clean this off. And then the last image are the leaves. So I'll line that up again with the pencil mark. And this time the ink I chose is more of a teal color. It's Peacock by Fawn. And I felt like that was kind of a good substitute for green, but still really went nicely with this color scheme that I wanted to do. So even though it's not exactly green, it's very, representative of green, close to green. There it is. And when I'm inking this up, I'm just going around a few times to really get that inked up well. And I like using Fawn ink on polymer stamps, clear stamps, because it cleans off so easily. Alright, so now I'm going to die cut this circle with a die that is a little bit bigger than my stamped image so I can get a white border all the way around. This is the circle around die set. And then I also have the journey circles, and I'm going to cut a circle just a little bit smaller, and that's going to be out of fun foam. So I can pop this circle up on my card. I have this fun foam left over for from some craft project, and I thought it would be good to use to pop things up. So that's what I'm doing today, and it die cut beautifully. So now I'm going to die cut that little house out of the center of my circle, stamped circle, and pop out all those little negative pieces. I don't end up using them, but you could always save them and do some paper piecing. And then I'm going to save that little house, and that will be for our second project. But then I remembered I love coloring in the center of these flowers. So I pulled out my BV00 Copic marker that's just a nice light purple and colored in the centers there. And then I'm also going to use that same smaller circle die and cut out a piece to go behind my house. And then I'll die cut a house from Pretty Amethyst cardstock from Fun Stamper's Journey. I'll use my little bloom tool here to help me get out those pieces. I thought you'd want to see how the brush tip works on my piece of styrofoam. And now I can inlay that house into my die cut. First I wanted to stamp on it the word welcome. So I rub my anti-static bag over the top of that, and then I'll stamp this first with clear pigment ink, then with my sugar plum ink, so that I can have a matching purple saying that is embossed on top of my house. So first you ink it with the pigment ink, then with the color of ink you want to use, and now sprinkle on clear embossing powder. And then we'll heat that up with the heat gun, and I always make sure and let my heat gun heat up before I take it to my paper. Then you'll have less warping. I'm going to put a scrap of some dark purple cardstock on the back of the door just to have something behind those windows. I wanted a contrast between the door and the window itself, which will be white. So now I'm going to glue all these pieces together, gluing down my stamped circle to the plain white circle, so I have a place to inlay my house. So I can glue that on next. I'm not going to put any glue behind the door. I want that to kind of lay, so when it's laid flat, the doors open a tiny bit. I thought that looked welcoming, like an open door on your card, right? I like that. Yeah, so then I'm going to take the foam, and it already had adhesive on the back, so that's a bonus. But I'm going to save that adhesive side for my card and put some glue in the center and glue that down to the back of this piece. And then I'm going to let that sit with a block on it for a few minutes while I stamp a background for my card. So this is the Polka Dot Turnabout stamp, also from Concord 9th. You're going to need a little template here. You put the template down, and then you put your stamp side down onto this template. Now, some of the older Turnabout stamps from Concord 9th do not come with this, so you can buy a package of the templates. It's there on the left-hand side of the screen for all of their older stamps. This is it right here, all of them, and it's a very reasonable price. So then you're going to use the Turnabout Jig, which is sold separately, but once you buy a jig, you only ever need one. Then I'm lining up the X on my template with the X on the jig, close the door of the MISTI, pick up the stamp, and then I'll remove that template. And there we have it. Then we'll take our cardstock that we're going to stamp on, and we will put temporary adhesive on the back and use the guidelines on the jig to center our paper. I already have it cut down to the size I want for my card front, but you could do a 6x6 piece and then cut it down and have some extra strips. So first I'm inking this up with sugar plum ink, and you could use a bigger ink pad for this. I just wanted to use the coordinating stamp pads so it was the same as my circle. Okay, we'll clean that off, turn the jig so the number 2 is in the upper right corner, and come in with some hippo ink for color number 2. So it's the same exact color combination as the flowers that we did. I will be adding in one additional color because to get a complete full background, you'll want 4 colors on a Turnabout stamp. So I just turned it so that the 3 is in the top corner, and then I'm inking up with that peacock ink as my 3rd color. You also want to be careful because the ink is getting on the outside of the jig, and you can easily touch that ink and get it on your finger and maybe smear it onto your paper, so be careful of that. This 3rd color is also from Lawn Fun. It's Fresh Lavender. So it's a lighter purple. So now I've got my 2 shades of purple going on, and I think it's really complementary to each other, as well as the little circles I filled in on my flowers with my Copic marker. So make sure you clean off your jig so that ink is not there next time. And there's our cute background. I'm going to use a gray card base. This is Fun Stampers Journey cardstock. It is Riverstone, I believe. And then we'll glue the background to that. So it's got a border on 4 sides. See the little smudge? That was when I smudged the ink on my jig. So I'm taking my sanding eraser, it's by Tombow, and it just sands off the top layer of cardstock. So if you get an ink smudge, you can get rid of it. And if it doesn't completely get rid of it, it lightens it up considerably. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that circle on the card in the center, and then we're going to accent it with a few fun things. I have a little scrap here of Pixie Dust cardstock. Say that 3 times fast. And I die cut that with the small heart die from this die set, and I'm going to stick that above the chimney. I had already put sticky paper on the back of my glitter paper for the previous project, so that was really nice. I didn't have to worry about that. But I did put a little adhesive where it hung off the circle, or a foam square where it hung off the circle. And now I'm stamping some of those extra images in the stamp set. Some leaves, a little spray of like baby's breath, and a flower. And there's dies to die cut all of these. So I'll go ahead and die cut those out and use those to accentuate my card. So nice. Die cut, ready to go. So I'll be putting a foam square on these where they hang off of the circle, and glue where they stick to the circle, because that circle has been popped up, remember, with the fun foam. So there we go. Half of the image is on the circle. It has glue. Part that hangs off has a foam square. And then we'll do the last little piece of baby's breath right in there. And now to just, I don't know, add some bling to this, I'm taking some Journey Glaze. I'm going to cover that glittered heart and the windows. I decided to only do the front window and not the window on the door. It was just a little bit too small. And to finish it off, I'm coloring in the center of that last flower. And that's the card. So cute. Perfect for a neighbor. And there's additional images you could stamp on the inside of that card that say, welcome to the neighborhood, welcome home, things like that. All right, so let's take this extra house piece and turn it into something cute. So I'm going to back the window with some of that pretty amethyst paper. And I'm going to do the same thing to this door that I did with the door on the card. Just cutting a small scrap. This is deep lilac cardstock. I don't think I said that before. And just a little scrap will do, very small. There is a score line so that that door on the house opens easily. So I love that the die does that for me. And now I thought, well, let's see if I can die cut this house from Fun Foam. So I can pop it up, and it cut out amazingly well. So I just popped out the windows, and then I wasn't sure about the door. And then after thinking about it, I decided I was going to go ahead and just cut that door off, just remove it. I didn't want it for this particular project. So now we'll go ahead and glue that down. And again, I'm going to have the door remain open. So I'm going to be really careful and remember not to put glue there. And we'll just let it sit with the heavy block on top of it so that it has a chance to take hold. And while it's doing that, after thinking a long time what I was going to do with this extra house, I decided a tag would be great to go with this card, because if you have a new neighbor, maybe you want to give them a card to welcome them, introduce yourself, and some homemade cookies, right? Well, then you have a matching tag to put on your little plate of cookies. And I felt like the tag needed a little something in the background, so I'm going to stamp this tag with the word home and that sugar plum ink. And this die cut is the bread tag die that I showed you at the beginning of the video. I use this tag a lot. It's perfect if you're going to tie a bow on something and that opening just goes right around the bow in your ribbon. So it's great. I highly recommend it. Lots of things you could put that on. All right, so we've got that tag ready to go, and then we're going to add a heart to this one as well. I saw my little scrap of glitter paper there and realized I still had enough to die cut another heart. This time I thought, let me see if I can stick this down, because remember it already had the sticky paper on the back, and then stick it to my fun foam and die cut it. And I ran this through with one pass and it popped out perfectly. I was so excited. I guess, you know, because fun foam is squishy, so when it rolls through it cuts out really good. All right, let's put this together. So we're putting the house at the bottom of the tag, and it fits perfect on the bread tag die. And then we'll put the heart like it's coming up out of the chimney. And again, we'll add some Journey glaze to the heart and to the window. And that will be our tag. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's projects. They really complement each other nicely. Remember, if you like and comment on this video, you have a chance to win these. I'm going to send you both, the card and the tag. So leave a comment below, tell me if you like this project, and you could win them. I'll announce it next week on my video. So if you're interested in any of the products I use, they're linked below. If you're new here, please subscribe, and then you can see all my future videos. Thanks so much. Bye.